There's something strangely beautiful about a person who stays calm in chaos, someone who doesn't flinch when life gets messy, who doesn't crumble when things don't go their way. That kind of strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It doesn't look like domination or control, it looks like peace. In a world that constantly tests us, from personal heartbreaks to everyday frustrations, that kind of inner steadiness can feel impossible. But what if I told you it's not only possible, it's already within you? That's what today's video is about. We're diving into timeless Buddhist teachings that help you walk through life with a quiet kind of power, the kind that doesn't need to fight because it already knows peace. These are not abstract philosophies or spiritual riddles. They're practical, grounded insights from the wisdom of the Buddha, teachings that have helped millions across generations to stand tall when everything around them was falling apart. And today, they're here for you. So don't skip a single part of this video. Every moment builds on the next. And if this kind of message speaks to your heart, if you feel a sense of calm or clarity from it, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit the subscribe button. It lets us know you're on this path with us, and it helps this message reach more people who need it. There's something we all quietly carry. Those moments when someone's words pierced deeper than they should have, when someone dismissed us, judged us, or made us feel like we weren't enough. And what's wild is how long we hold on to that pain. Days, weeks, sometimes years. It replays in our minds like a broken record. Why did they say that? What did I do wrong? Should I have said something back? But the truth is, the moment is already gone, and yet we're still living in it. Buddhism invites us to see this differently. It reminds us that the pain we feel often doesn't come from the words themselves, but from the power we give to those words. Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." It's one of those teachings that hits hard, because it's not about blame, it's about responsibility. When someone disrespects you, it's like they're handing you a heavy stone. You have two choices: carry it around with you, letting it weigh you down, or gently set it down and move on. Most of us, without even realizing it, choose to carry it. We take someone else's pain, their ignorance, their projections, and make it ours. But the Buddha reminds us, you don't have to pick it up. You can choose peace over pain. That's power. That's real strength. Think of your mind like a still lake. Someone throws a stone, an insult, a judgment, and it ripples. But the ripple fades unless we keep tossing in more stones ourselves with our thoughts, overthinking, and anger. If we just allow the water to settle, it returns to calm. That's how our inner world works. The more we can observe without reacting, the more we remain rooted in our peace. Buddhism doesn't teach us to be indifferent, it teaches us to be free. Free from overreacting, free from needing to prove ourselves, free from giving others control over how we feel. You know, we spend a lot of time and energy trying to control what happens around us, what people think of us, how situations unfold, how others behave. And when things don't go the way we expect, it rattles us. But the truth is, life isn't something we can control like a playlist or a thermostat. It flows how it flows. The real power lies not in changing the world, but in how we respond to it. That's something the Buddha understood deeply. One of the greatest shifts you can make in your life is moving from being reactionary to being intentional. That means you stop letting the world push your buttons, and instead you choose how to show up, on purpose, with presence. Living with intention doesn't mean having your whole life figured out. It means waking up in the morning and asking yourself, how do I want to move through today? Not what you want to get or achieve, but who you want to be. Do you want to bring peace into a conversation? Do you want to be more patient, even when things get chaotic? These aren't small things. These are the ways we shape our entire experience. And Buddhism teaches that every moment holds this potential, that each breath gives us a fresh chance to act in alignment with our deeper truth. The Buddha taught that intention is at the heart of karma. In fact, he once said, "It is volition, monks, that I call karma. For having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind." What that means is, your intentions carry more weight than your outcomes. It's not just what you do, it's the energy you do it with. You could give someone a gift out of guilt or out of genuine care. Same action, completely different karma. So when we talk about living intentionally, we're talking about choosing thoughts, words, and actions that come from awareness. Not fear, not impulse, not people-pleasing, but awareness. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? That quiet pinch in your chest when you see someone else doing well, someone landing the job you wanted, living the life you pictured, or simply smiling while you're struggling to stay afloat. You don't want to feel this way, you want to be happy for them. And yet, there's this uncomfortable voice inside whispering that you're not enough, that you've missed your chance, that you're falling behind. That feeling is envy. And if we're honest, most of us experience it more often than we'd like to admit. But Buddhism doesn't ask us to be ashamed of this feeling. It asks us to understand it, sit with it, and eventually transform it. According to the teachings of the Buddha, envy is just another visitor in the mind, a passing cloud in an otherwise clear sky. It's not who you are, and it doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you're human. But here's the powerful shift Buddhism invites us to make. Instead of seeing someone else's success as a threat, see it as inspiration. See it as a reflection of your own potential, your own light that maybe you've temporarily forgotten about. Buddha taught that clinging to comparisons only brings suffering. But when we let go of comparison and embrace admiration instead, we turn envy into a path of growth. There's a beautiful teaching that says, "Rejoice in the success of others, and you will never lack joy in your own heart." Think about that. The more you celebrate others, the more joy you create, not just for them, but for yourself. When you see someone doing something you long for, don't turn inward with bitterness. Ask yourself, what is it about this that speaks to me? What qualities are they showing me that I want to develop in myself? Maybe it's their courage, their persistence, their discipline, or maybe it's just their peace. Instead of resenting it, let it guide you. There's a subtle shift that happens when you stop looking at life like a competition and start seeing it as a personal journey. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others, especially in a world where everyone's highlights are on full display. We measure our progress against someone else's path, then wonder why we feel restless, disappointed, or constantly behind. But Buddhism teaches something very different. It encourages us to walk our own path with mindfulness, not to race down someone else's. That shift, from chasing to choosing, is powerful. And it brings us to a deeper understanding of what it means to live with intention. Living with intention isn't about being perfect or always having a 5-year plan. It's about being awake to your own life. The Buddha taught that the present moment is all we ever truly have. So the question becomes, how are we spending it? Are we acting from habit, from fear, from the need to impress? Or are we moving with clarity and purpose? When we live with intention, we pause before we react. We check in with ourselves before saying yes to everything. We choose our words more carefully. We even start to notice what drains our energy and what nourishes it. Buddhism invites us to get clear on our values. What truly matters to you, not what others expect, not what society pushes, but what brings you peace, meaning, and fulfillment. For one person, that might be kindness. For another, it's growth. For someone else, it's freedom. Once you know what your core values are, it becomes easier to make decisions that align with them. You stop living on autopilot. You start saying no to things that pull you away from your path and yes to the things that bring you back to yourself. The Buddha encouraged self-inquiry as a form of wisdom. He said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." That's not just poetic, it's a call to live consciously. When we live with intention, we realize that we're not powerless. We may not control everything that happens, but we can always choose how we respond, and every response becomes a thread in the fabric of our lives. There's a moment we all know too well, the sting of someone's words, the heaviness that settles after a cold look, or the frustration when you're misunderstood. It can ruin an entire day. And strangely, the person who hurt you, they've already moved on. They might not even realize the impact they had. But you're still carrying it. That weight in your chest, that's the invisible power we give away without realizing it. We hand over our peace, our emotional balance, and even our self-worth to people who may not value or understand us. It's exhausting, and most of us don't even realize we're doing it. But here's where Buddhist wisdom can change everything. It teaches us that we can reclaim that power not by changing other people, but by changing how we respond. Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." That teaching reminds us that emotional freedom begins from within. We can't control how people treat us, but we can choose how much of it we let into our inner world. Someone can throw negativity your way, but you decide whether to catch it and hold on to it, or to let it pass through you like wind through an open window. And that's not denial or weakness, it's wisdom. It's understanding that our emotional peace isn't found in controlling the world outside of us. It's found in mastering our inner space. Think of it this way, your mind is your home. Would you let just anyone walk in and rearrange the furniture, scrawl hurtful words on the walls, or steal your joy? Of course not. Yet that's what we often do emotionally. Every rude comment, every unfair judgment, we let it sit with us, shape our day, and sometimes even our sense of self. Buddhism teaches us to be mindful gatekeepers of our mind. We notice what enters, but we don't let everything take root. Just like clouds pass across the sky, we learn to watch our thoughts and feelings without grabbing onto them. Some days, life just doesn't go your way. You try to hold it all together, but something happens. A plan falls apart, someone disappoints you, or you make a mistake you wish you could undo. And the harder you try to fix it, to make it all line up the way you pictured, the more tangled things get. That's when the frustration builds. That quiet storm in your chest starts to rise. You replay everything in your mind, thinking, if only this had gone differently. But here's the thing. That reaction, the struggle, the resistance, is often the very thing that deepens our suffering. One of the most powerful truths the Buddha taught is that so much of our pain doesn't come from what happens to us, but from our resistance to what is. Acceptance sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest inner skills to build. It doesn't mean we're weak. It doesn't mean we approve of everything that happens. It means we stop trying to control the uncontrollable. The Buddha said, "Accept what is. Let go of what was. Have faith in what will be." Those words hold so much wisdom. They're a reminder that peace doesn't come from forcing life to meet our expectations. It comes from learning to be okay with the present moment just as it is. Think about it like this. You're standing in a river and the current is strong. You can fight it, dig your heels into the riverbed, resist every wave, but you'll exhaust yourself and you might even fall. Or you can learn to move with the current, flow with it. Acceptance is like learning how to float. You're still in the river, but you're not drowning. You're not wasting your strength resisting what's already happening. Instead, you're using your energy to stay balanced, to stay centered. There's a quiet kind of power in stillness, the kind you feel when you sit beside a river and just watch the water flow, not needing to do anything, not needing to fix or change it. It just moves. It just is. That same power exists inside of you, but most of us forget. We're so used to reacting, to trying to control everything, to pushing back when life doesn't cooperate. And in doing so, we become tense, tired, and constantly off balance. Buddhism offers us a different path. It's not about giving up or being passive. It's about learning how to find steadiness within, no matter what's happening outside. Buddha taught that everything is temporary. Joy, pain, success, failure, none of it lasts forever. When we really let that sink in, we begin to understand that we don't need to chase the highs or run from the lows. We can stay grounded, and one of the most beautiful states that Buddhism helps us cultivate is equanimity. It's that deep inner calm that doesn't waver when life throws curveballs, not because you've shut down, but because you've opened up, fully accepting the nature of change without clinging or resisting. Think of equanimity like a tree with deep roots. The wind can blow hard, the seasons can change, but the tree stays standing. That's what we're aiming for. When you start developing equanimity, you don't get thrown off course every time someone criticizes you. You don't lose your peace because something didn't go your way. Instead, you meet each moment with balance. You feel it fully, but you don't let it carry you away. Some people mistake peace for passivity. They think staying calm means doing nothing, saying nothing, or avoiding responsibility. But in truth, living in peace, real, grounded peace, is one of the most powerful things a person can do, because it means you've made a conscious choice to respond to life, not react to it. It means you're not letting the chaos outside decide the calm inside. And in Buddhism, that's a mark of deep strength. Not just spiritual strength, but emotional, mental, and even physical resilience. It's a kind of invisible armor that lets you walk through fire without burning yourself. One of the most beautiful teachings from the Buddha is this: peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. That might sound simple at first, but the truth behind it is profound. So many of us are constantly chasing peace in external things, trying to arrange our lives just right, needing people to behave a certain way, needing conditions to be perfect before we feel okay inside. But the moment we depend on the outside world for peace, we're giving away our power, because the outside world will always shift, always disappoint, always change. Buddha taught that the world is impermanent, unstable, ever-evolving. But our inner world, that's where we can build something steady. Living in peace in the Buddhist way means aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with your core values: compassion, truth, patience, and non-harming. It means not being pulled in 1,000 directions by every opinion, every trend, every piece of bad news. It's not that you don't care, it's that you care deeply, but wisely. You start to notice that when your mind is clear and your heart is steady, your decisions are better, your relationships are healthier, and your days feel lighter. And the best part, this peace isn't dependent on whether someone texts you back, whether you get that promotion, or whether life goes according to plan. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of fixing things. Our minds are wired to spot problems, chase goals, and figure out what needs to be better. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting growth, there's something powerful, almost revolutionary, about stopping for a moment and truly appreciating what's already here. Not in a forced way, not in a positive vibes-only way, but in a quiet, grounded, honest way. That's where a deep kind of peace starts to unfold. When we shift from constantly wanting more to gently acknowledging what already is, we begin to live differently. Buddhism calls this awareness santosha, contentment. And from that space of contentment, real joy arises. Gratitude in Buddhism isn't just about saying thank you. It's a state of being. It's about training the mind to recognize goodness, even when things aren't perfect. The Buddha reminded his followers that the very fact we are alive, breathing, and able to hear or speak is already a reason to give thanks. He once said, "Let us rise up and be thankful, for if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." It sounds simple, but there's profound truth in that. Gratitude shifts the mind from scarcity to abundance. It softens frustration, it reconnects us with what's real. Think about your own life, those tiny moments that pass so quickly we barely register them. The first sip of warm tea in the morning, a kind smile from a stranger, the sound of laughter from someone you love. These are the kind of moments we overlook when our minds are stuck in what's next. But when we pay attention, these small joys become doorways to something deeper. Buddhism teaches that peace isn't something you chase. It's something you notice. It's already here. You just have to see it. There's a kind of heaviness we carry when things don't go the way we expected. A relationship falls apart, a dream slips through our fingers, someone we trusted disappoints us deeply, and without realizing it, we start holding tighter to how we thought life was supposed to unfold, tighter to the story we were writing in our minds. But the more we grip, the more we suffer. The harder we try to control everything, the more we lose touch with the present moment. In Buddhism, there's a teaching that speaks directly to this: the art of releasing. Not giving up, but letting go. Letting go of the need to control, the pressure to fix everything, the belief that we are only okay if life looks a certain way. Buddha said, "You only lose what you cling to." That one line, so simple, yet so deep, teaches us a truth we often resist. The pain isn't always in what's happening. It's in our unwillingness to let it be. We hold on to grudges, old stories, future worries, expectations of how others should behave or how we should be by now. And that clinging, that mental grip, creates resistance. It's like trying to hold water in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. When we begin to loosen that grip, something shifts. We begin to breathe again. We realize that peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from trusting that we can handle whatever comes. That even if the path changes, we're still on the path. That maybe the very thing we're afraid to let go of is what's keeping us stuck. Letting go in the Buddhist sense is not a passive thing. It takes awareness, it takes courage. It's choosing to show up for life as it is, not as we wish it was. It's saying, "This hurts, but I'm not going to let it define me." It's learning to trust that the ground beneath you will still hold you, even when the plan falls apart. In the end, Buddhism doesn't promise a life free of hardship. It offers something even more powerful, a way to face life's difficulties without being defeated by them. You will still feel pain, confusion, and disappointment. But you won't be controlled by them. You'll move through them with awareness. And that means you never really lose. You evolve, you grow, you rise. That's the heart of Buddhist wisdom, not escaping life's storms, but learning how to walk through them with grace. Thank you for being a part of Buddhist Journey today. If even one principle spoke to your heart, pass it on, share this video, leave a comment, or simply sit with the message. And remember to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep walking this path together. Until next time, walk gently, breathe deeply, and protect your peace.